like to say that I live in Parkinson's disease, so being with me sometimes, mind goes to places it's not into. But I try my best to live serene and I'll fight to the end to do all the causes that I've had all my life. I've looked into traction in the media, much of what's actually happening thanks to you. That's brought more traction, snowballs, and now there's a multitude of voices. The one statistic that I'm a researcher of trade, that I was trying to go into the analytics and all that tonight. We know most of it. Well, the crunch of numbers that are people's lives, and we know most of the premises. But the one statistic that should know, we should take away from themselves, is 80% of children jailed and they still will reoffend and do reoffend the second, third, fourth time, and 40% fifth, sixth time. 90% of children who are offenders in all that, 90% do not read. You have to ask why. I think you know most of the reasons why, and we'll talk about it tonight. And I won't take up much time with this first question with that. In a lot of these nations, they've compelled change through changes in legislation. They've got alternatives active in their legislation, alternatives to incarceration, with incarceration being the last resort. We need these embedded in our state, in our jurisdictional legislature, and some nations have it in the constitution, so it overarches. In this country, we still need things like Medicare in prisons. We have exceptionalism in this country, but we don't have Medicare in prisons. It's budgeted, and we have health discrimination, poor quality healthcare, and many come out because of their primary, secondary, and ancillary health worse than what they went in. But the problem we have in Australia is we haven't shifted control of consciousness, we haven't educated our policymakers, we haven't taken to the media across the country, we've all had Nordic nations, all European nations, and other places, even Japan, which is often like doing rightly as a harsh carceral state. It does a lot of community level work and does a lot of work with children to ensure they don't reoffend in the participating community. I know looking in the Nordic nations, they don't have a minimum age of 14, they have a minimum age of 15. They have actually evolved from carceral states. Norway has 8 beds for children to be detained for serious crimes, and on average there are 46 children in those secure circumstance facilities annually. And there's one child who's 16 now, who's been supported for the last 6 months. She committed murder, but they haven't taken that to turn her life into a endless incarceration. They've supported her with 6 workers on a 24/7 basis, including psychiatrists, psychologists, social worker, and case workers, and an educator. So going for the life transforming. These are the types of things that we should aspire to, but we need to educate the nation. We compel our policy makers to educate our politicians. And one thing I'll finish up on is I've spoken to most ministers across the nation over 2 decades who have youth justice, or youth in general, or corrective services, and the justice system at its helm, and they're illiterate when compared to what goes on in Norway, Sweden, Finland, the Netherlands. And the Netherlands has the greatest example, as you are posted law students, to look at of its justice system. It's the fairest and most independent, and most robust and strongest. And they've got the lowest, alongside Norway, recidivism too.
Gerry, keep the mic down there. Can everybody hear me if I don't use the microphone? Okay, great. So the next question, Gerry, I think you are best placed to answer as well, because you've been rolling into UNA18 and Bexley Hill. Now, it would be remiss of us to not...
I haven't gone to UNA18.
Oh, you haven't?
That's not what I need to do.
Oh, I see.
It doesn't prevent you to leave me in quarantine and COVID. But I want to go back to it, but I haven't gone to UNA18. But I work in training, we've gone in UNA18.
I see. Well, you can still answer this question. For those who aren't aware, UNA18 is a section of Casuarina Adults and Maximum Security Facility where we do have young people. And this is something that we've seen many judges and magistrates from the Perpetual Court talk about in their sentencing remarks regarding both Mainzer and UNA18 not being fit in terms of rehabilitation for young people here in WA. So what do you think are the consequences of housing young people within facilities that are not fit, firstly, for youth, and secondly, for children?
Well, the other problem with painted hill itself in general can be failed. It's not a facility that's fit for children. What I saw in there is low caliber education, no transferable skills. What I saw in there is poor behaviour, maladaptive misbehaviour, regardless of officers, not all of them, some of them, who slave children, racist classes, tirades, who wanted the worst for them because they experienced the worst of them. They don't have partnerships and the type of training that officers or guards. They've got the personnel that say for 2 years it's required to the social service skills and psychology, behavioural. In Norway, for 2 years the guards are also expected to work studiously with vocational training and psychology in particular in Germany. We don't have any of them. We have 8 weeks induction of how to work in operational manual and zero tolerance of regimes behaviours instead of unpacking these tools as a woman. I saw very little good inside Banksia Hill. I de-escalated 100% incidences in that time when I was there. And that's what they wanted me for because they had their last start emails ever. We had recording residents. I worked with kids 24/7 and I only had 8 weeks. All the assistants at the children's court would release 22 girls for 31 residentials. A population of 18, more than half of the 7, and provide them that only on the outside post-custody supports in connection to social services and the nurturing is needed to nurture the retention in their pathways. But to answer the question quickly, Unit 18 is an abomination. It shouldn't exist. Cleveland, for instance, avoids going through the stories for the children's court. It's fair confidence to say now what's in said in the children's court. You didn't see a psychologist. You didn't see social worker. You didn't see anyone of any seasoned expertise while inside Unit 18. 75 of his last 86 days were spent 22 hours in a cell. It was emotional battery, psychological injuries, physical injuries. It wasn't impulsive action, it was emotional battery over a long period of time. And someone commits an offence who's been emotionally battered with domestic violence, we don't say it's an impulsive action, we say it's a relentless emotional battery. That's what it was in Unit 18. Unit 18 excludes all sorts of services. They weren't there, and the facility was a whole corral of misery, far too small in terms of social context to nurture an environment that's equivalent to a care setting in the outside or family setting of such existence. Many of these children don't have family settings. They have care settings, and many of them are transient, and they live with holes of human misery on the outside as if on the inside they don't get the support that they get. What's missing is the report on residents. We can academize it all. What's missing is the report on residents on the inside, the opportunity for that. That's still missing in my opinion. It's not happening. They're looking at activities instead of unpacking their stories that go to the heart of their needs. And in Unit 18, which I argued against from the onset, we corralled them in an abomination. Corralled human misery is enough, a holding pen is enough to call it that. And even if they had all their services running over it, they had set up a failure because the spatial content is far too small, and the demonisation in the whole facility was disgraced. The problem that we have is that we've got to recognise that we argue for a whole government approach. That's ideal, a whole government approach. In some countries like Scotland, they're working on a whole government approach at the moment, and they're learning on the way because they're most progressive, the same in the Netherlands, Israel, or Scandinavian countries, etc. But we have a whole government approach here. Who do we have? We have the Department of Housing, who evicts people at very high rates from public housing and social housing. 25% of the centres in the first people cover the eviction notice on termination areas. And we're removing families who are already overcrowded, putting them onto the streets and train things. So we're not putting the stabilisation supports that we have. So we haven't educated, and I'm getting to a point here about what I want to make. We have the Department of Child Protection, which is also bent on removing children instead of supporting families to the extent that it should happen. We have an investiture of faith in them, which they be trained. Because if we talk about, and I'm about everyone, I want to see the 1 in 4 in Banksia Hill and the 2 in 5 throughout Australia in juvenile detention, the 18 juvenile detention facilities in this country, all supported. Because what we need is a bedrock of humane practices. And we don't have these humane practices as a bedrock, so other practices can support. We can't even get cultural appropriateness if the bedrock isn't there. But we have humane practice to make it difficult and set it up for failure. We set it up maybe for the elders to mentor, or people to mentor others, when we make their existence punitive, harsh, and harshly unconventional. And one statistic that I like to say, which I promised not to want statistics again, but I'll mention this one. So, because it was mentioned about world's highest rates, another world's highest rate that belongs to Western Australia is self-harm rates that we actually had towns in Cape Vale, makes you ill. In all my research from around the world in terms of robust startup, that our self-harm rates are through the roof. But nowhere else, anywhere in the world, does it come close. Not even the other volcanoes of America itself, the United States, which 24 all world citizens in American jails. And they have the world's highest rates. And then we learned in the coroner's inquest that the internet thing wasn't even recording all the self-harm data, which were actually already what we had, what was being recorded and recorded at world record high rates. So we're not even getting the full scope and spectrum of. But the fact that we actually not raise alarm bells and blow the whistle and make all the complaints, 13 all the complaints, and bring this issue to the board into public confidence. But why I'm mentioning child protection is 1 in 10 children from First Nations descended from First Peoples were removed. Only 1 in 10 will be reunified before the age of 18 as a national statistic across the country. 1 in 10. Instead of supporting families, I'm not saying that no children should be removed. Some children, it's in their best interest to be put into independent assisted living or fostered when this can. Visitations with families, the connection, identity, whether you're black or brown or white, can be made, should be made, and I've done that in my work across the country. I've been on over 200 safety plans for children. I've got a near 100% record of reunification. That's because I'm independent and impartial. I can contextualise and work to their best interests and nurture the supports that need to be had. And sometimes I'm at odds with the Department of Child Protection. But what I'm describing is if we have a whole of government approach at this stage, we have an uneducated Department of Corrective Services, an uneducated Department of Child Protection, an uneducated Department of Housing. If we compare it to the more progressive nations, or the ones that actually succeed with their whole of government approach, unless we educate the whole of government approach on what a quality education and catch-up learning in a juvenile detention facility should look like, on what child protection services should foster and nurture, on how we should connect and nurture all this sort of stuff. We've got a toxic culture that all these bureaucrats move around from one entity to the other. They're not bureaucrats dedicated to corrective services alone, or the Department of Justice or the Department of Housing. They all shuffle around. And I've seen people coming from guards to commissioners, whatever. And not having training along the way that their counterparts in the Scandinavian countries have actually had. So we try to nurture that and get the media to nurture that and get it out across the country. We need an education about whole of governments in each jurisdiction, about Australian citizenry. And even though these children are Australia's most vulnerable children, even though these, and I'll end here, even though these children are not massive in numbers in the context of the Australian landscape and have no voting power whatsoever, I do believe in the goodwill of people. I do believe in the goodwill of our judicial system. I do believe in the goodwill. Look at Hilton Plato. Look at all he's wearing once in a generation. From the tour of what he did standing up with these children. And a lot of the children being not going back to juvenile detention and the reduction of the carceral system in juvenile detention in Western Australia is because the children's court is averse to throwing many of these children back to Banks Hill or even at 18, knowing that their circumstances are going to get worse. And we've had 2 deaths in custody in the last 11 months. And we've also had many close calls in the world trying to self-harm. We need to focus in on the education to every corner possible to actually compel the change that's needed.
Thank you, Gerry.
So he actually said we need to fund social services. The reality is we've got someone from the Children's Court. And the Children's Court, Justice Association, on behalf of justice. And asked what diversionary programs get this child on, so we don't have to sentence in 3 months. And if I'd taken I couldn't take them on because I don't have minutes in hours left in the day to take anymore. I'm only 40 children for Banks Hill. We've been in Banks Hill with illness 13, 14-year-old who committed armed robbery and nurtured since. I've got 4 of his family, 1 in detox. He's now in his 3rd week. He's 19 years old and spent 3 years effectively aggregated in Banks Hill. They're transient, their parents, their father and Wi-Fi. and their brothers trans in their homes. And getting them through them, I've got with an RTO, which is the training provider, training for employment, and then we're getting the employment as well as students. And I'm renting them as best I can in a non-offended sense. They've made some cognitive breaches, but they're not criminally offended because they've got mental support, someone that validates them. We more of this, what I said to the children's court is I can't find you in a diversionary program. Kids support this child. It doesn't exist. The diversionary programs that we have are few and far between. There's all over in kind of horrible street, and there's a justice reinvestment program, and that's been put under the pump where it's got a 50% failure rate or a 50% success rate. You're not really at risk because there's funded to do the expensive work, and that 24/7 or even 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. where it's being during crucial hours. I'm supporting individuals 24/7 to get there. And the 40 I've supported, none of them have criminally reoffended. And that's what we do. But you don't have the diversity of programs. You don't have, it's all mismaking that they exist to the extent that they should, but the court don't have capacity and capability to fulfill them too. You've got to get more investment in these types of programs, but it goes back to what I said, we need to educate government through their policy makers, through the national consciousness, through what the people want, and what is being said and read. That will control the type of change. We need changes in legislation where we have alternatives to incarceration. Incarceration is a last resort. If we get something in the Constitution, it's that hard to get anything constitutionally. I'm not going to argue for it because we're not going to get that many dispensation with nation support this all the nation have. We've got to get the bedrock of Australian consciousness and all influence. But the children that we have inside, how you said, you have the highest rate of cases being related, affecting children in the world. And it's anything between 40 to 30 of all children from samples that have been put out and busted across the country. We need age-sensitive structures in place for children. You can't have 10 and 11-year-olds. At this stage, we've got 10 and 11-year-olds. We've got a handful. You can't have 10 and 11-year-olds with 16, 17, and 18-year-olds. Some say the 18-year-olds are hardy and there's a propensity to harm the younger ones. The younger ones are actually very caught up with this in many ways are angrier than the older ones who have actually habituated their life into a pretty life future. And one stark statistic is that 100 children post-release from Banksia Hill since 1997 establishment have taken their lives as deaths after custody in the first year post-release. And that's more horrific in the scale of the thing of it. And half a dozen in the last 20 years alone to the two children who should have been supported. Because we've got to consider Banksia also, and it should be a place of opportunity, and it's a place of missed opportunity. It should be a place of early intervention. Banksia should be seen as the opportunity for early intervention. Because some of these lives are so dark and bleak and dangerous events, I won't call them safety nets, but there's no opportunity on the outside to get that early intervention in because they don't have a kid or the family support. Some don't have parents or they're jailed, and there's a lot of orphans who have been on the inside in juvenile detention facilities. And I'm reminded of many of them every day in my reports that I have support quite a few in all those circumstances. But if we have ASD children and we have neurocognitive impairments, neurological impairments, they need to be separate because they are in many of these countries who are progressive from the other children. So they're thinking whether it's disordered or whether it's combating neurological terms can be treated and helped and nurtured on one-on-one basis, or two-on-one basis, or three-on-one basis, outside the realm of Banksia Hill, outside in another realm that's conducive to their needs. And also children in general should be cleared by age. If there's worse than this, because circumstance of community-based communal living from 10 to 11 to 12, 13 to 40, 15 to 16, 17 to 18. You can't put them all together and in that combustion and expect any scale of success. I have a problem with what's happening in juvenile justice in this country. And we actually call it a black problem. And then we call it black dysfunctionality. It's not a black problem, It's not a round rock, it's not a white rock. When you go to the bedrock, the foam, it's actually the carceral. It's the way we run our carceral states, our justice system, the judicial system. I don't apply any one of the judicial system because they're a victim of government policy, and by that account, there's no separation of powers in effect.
Thanks, Joe.
Don't find that. I just want to say this: if you don't have a humane system, you give it no opportunity for anyone to be supported in the expert ways that support can be provided. You've got to have a humane system. The problem is our systems. They're in systematic disarray. I agree with Lucas about the lived experience of peer support. That reminds me about Alcoholics Anonymous. They're the most successful. They're a totally peer support driven model. With people 50 years of age coming out 30 years of sobriety, talking and mentoring others who are running through alcohol and the drug crisis. And they've got the highest, in my experience, rate of turnover, the most life transforming ways of people's lives. It's about, belief systems, but their mentors and their nurture and real peer support. And peer support, once it's seasoned, yes, it's easy. We've got to be careful though. Peer support themselves, in my experience, till they've actually seasoned themselves and extended their shared understandings, interacademic understandings where needed to. So, I worked on the National Task Force for Commonwealth Government, where everyone I had was with lived experience in suicidality. I can also go through counselling courses and tertiary qualifications to extend their thinking and their cognitive processing. And that actually takes away the habituation of trauma from displaced anger. You don't actually see it, you internalize it, or externalize, you become everything, but it's also it's part of nurture. I started off by saying tonight that Norway, 90% of children who are offended don't reoffend. And I said 80% of children in Banksia Hill reoffend a second or third time. Norway. I'm going to go that whole holistic approach of the whole country. Look at Norway and find out what they're doing to change things. Also, thinking about restoring justice practices in addition to rehabilitation, life transformative, mentoring, counsel, nurture, health services. And remember that one girl that I said about Norway, there are 6 workers immersed around it to change her life. And look at the restorative justice practices that the Netherlands actually looks upon. I went to look restorative justice in the if you don't know, look it up. And you'll find also there are some of these programs in Australia, there's the 18 juvenile detention facilities that work. They're small time, they're signature pieces. The investment has to be extended into rolling out across the board. We've got a long way to go to build that type of film. It isn't good enough. I lost funding. What happened to me in Banksia Hill was I couldn't leave behind after working in there 8 weeks all the children that were being neglected and missed out. I was on the funding you could continue on. And I actually said I'll take it, but once I actually galvanized the class action in the federal court for there are 900 plaintiffs now, that was because I couldn't leave behind and I was prepared to compromise government procurement practices and not get funding support all the other way. I couldn't live myself with all the blood in my hands. I'm trying to include that on stuff. So, as you said, facts. And with 339 recommendations, 338 have been lost by Australia. Depending on who you listen to, each jurisdictional state and territory has between 70 to 90% of those recommendations being implemented to some degree of scope. If you listen to the Indigenous Fall Bulletin, it's 50%. In Eastern Seaboard, 30% in Western Seaboard. If you listen to the natives doing PhD research, constituted by geologists, humans and experience, the Australian intensive custody and increasing reform, it's 30% at least in Seaboard, various three jurisdictions. And the more west you go across the country, the more horrific the statistics, the more reductionist the implementation of strategies on those recommendations. With Western Australia and Northern Territory, 10 to 20% a few years ago of that implementation to a scale that's way enough to actually justify So we haven't implemented anything near what we should have. But there's one thing I want to say, and I've actually argued that the core system is the problem. It's a classist narrative and also intersection with racism, with segments of the first regions. 82% of deaths in custody in prisons are of non-First Nations people. 18% are of First Nations people, descendants of the first people. That's lower in rate than the non-Indigenous population in prisons that die. 46 years of age is the average age of death for non-First Nations people, and 32 years of age for First Nations people who are in the prison population. 580,000 Australians have been in prison are still living. That's more than 2% of Australia's population have been in prison. And 120,000 to 140,000, when it was out of 800,000, now we're at 1 million Australians who are identified as First Nations. But even that is 1 in 6 of all First Nations people living in Paddington prison. It's not built to find. So you've got horrific rates of incarceration. The younger you are in prison, the more likely you are to, if you're First Nations, to die in the custodial city. But the system is chronically and acutely disastrous. I've just said 82% of the deaths in custody are non-First Nations people. The whole system at its core, that they are 132 charges, 150 adult prisons and 17 for juvenile detention facilities, are punitive, partially punitive, inhumane, and if we don't get that bedrock right, we set it up for failure for everyone. Anyone who wants to be a mentor to both First Nations and non-First Nations, or community that needs to be involved, is set up for failure or a struggle at its very least to support its First Nations brothers and sisters. We've got to recognise that there are barriers and encumbrances. We don't respect the Convention on the Rights of the Children, the sections 37 and 40 of the Convention on the Rights of the Children, ability to give justice. We don't respect the humane settings that should be had to foster the communal living and the support and nurture, and we make it possible for the best of cultural appropriateness, culturally secure elders to support their own, and for all mentors and social services to support young ones and older ones in our juvenile detention facilities and our adult prisons. And I say that, and I call it out all the time because it needs to be had. The one thing I will finally finish off on is police. They're a reflection of community, of society. They're not more prejudiced or biased than any other sector or population group in this country. And they have a difficult gig. They see the horrendous suicide rates across the country. You've heard of the Bomb 300. You can go up Google and find out police officers neighbours see as people who have taken their lives across the country that don't talk about that. But after the death of this student, I knew the custody notification service could have kept her alive. I flew to Canberra and brokered an agreement with the government to actually roll it out across the country. It took 3-4 years to get that up in Western Australia, in South Australia, and the Northern Territory where it was needed most. In New South Wales, with the exception of one death in custody with Mr. Mile, who the custody notification service wasn't contacted, they've had 0 deaths in custody in police watch houses. And it's been the case since the custody notification in 2020 got up in Western Australia, in South Australia, in the Northern Territory, that there have been no deaths in police watch houses. So we can stop this. And there's a Housing Responsibility Act that makes it prohibitive for police to take testimonies and statements and procure charge sheets without having made contact with the detainee and the custody notification service. Right now, there's the Custody Wellbeing Service that's being prospered by the WA Police Force in the ALS and the legal services to help First Nations prison people coming out from the inside and also being represented and being arrested. And it's working particularly through the week. And on the weekends now, they post field all people and it's polarising individuals. Some of you may know me. I'm a sweet guy actually. But the Commission has actually asked me to run a post-custody wellbeing service and transition people from the weekend courts. And there's 160 to 200 people that come through. The one you need to do First Nations, I've got the focus here on First Nations because I don't miss anyone, but I was wanting to do the white brothers and sisters too. And when I was in Acacia prison for 9 months and doing the corporate law, suicide element relates to partners in those 9 months, ended up in Acacia. I won't go on about it, but we insisted it was a black family, but we insisted we had white brothers and sisters in terms of study because that creates harmony. And no black fellow denied a white fellow the support that we gave him, and the white fellows weren't saying, oh, it's all from black fellows or whatever. Right? So we worked with 400 prisoners in Acacia, the First Nations, for 9 months, and we knew we might not get the chance again, so we reduced our hopes to the Royal Assembly. But with the police, they're changing, and they're a reflection of society. And we should recognize that. When I got the custody notification service up, one of the organizations that asked me to get the custody notification service up is the UWA Police Union. Now, we're a lot of things, but they said we don't want our officers to be making health and welfare judgments according to his lives. This is really right. And yet, we resonated on that. And they said, go hard, Gerry. Do it whatever you can, whatever you can. Support you, we can't speak. This is political. We'll lose our jobs. Whatever. But, please keep on going until you get it. And, I know many police officers who have been on suicide watch, but their interactions with people who have been, what they thought they were trying to stop crime, and they got harmed. And I'm not saying cut slack. Everybody's got to be accountable. Myself and Zoe Fair many times all around and actually ask for accountability and all that. But we won't get justice till we get people held to account and people in high positions to account for their actions. And so what high positions? They can't say that they're mentally unwell, they're not fit for examination, but they're actually taking responsibility. That's vulnerable people in this country. And there's, for instance, the kids in juvenile detention, kids in adult prison. You're 18, 19, you're in a custody for suicide in an adult prison at 18, 19. You're still a kid. You're still a kid. You're still a young person. You're a youth or hopefully 26 form.